Here's something that might hurt to hear, but you need to know it. There are people in your life who love you, but don't actually care about you. And no, that's not a contradiction. It's psychology. Love and care are not the same thing. And understanding the difference might completely change how you see your relationships. You can love someone and still never ask how they're really doing. You can love someone and still ignore their needs. You can love someone and still disappear when things get hard. Because love for some people is a feeling. It's nostalgia. It's history. It's comfort. It's familiarity. But care? Care is action. Care is effort. Care is showing up even when it's inconvenient. And here's the part most people don't realize. You can feel love for someone without ever putting in the work to actually care for them. Psychology calls this passive love. It's the kind of love that exists in memory, in sentiment, in words, but never translates into behavior. It's your friend who says, "I love you," but never checks in when you're going through something difficult. It's the family member who says you matter to them, but is never available when you actually need support. It's the person who claims you're important to them, but only reaches out when they need something from you. They're not lying when they say they love you. They probably do, but their love is hollow. It's surface level. It doesn't require them to do anything. And if you've ever felt confused about why someone who loves you makes you feel so alone, this is why. Because love without care is just an idea. And ideas don't hold you when you're breaking. They don't show up when life gets messy. They don't fight for you when things fall apart. So let's talk about how this happens, why it happens, and what you can do when you realize someone loves you but doesn't actually care. So why does this happen? How can someone genuinely love you and still not care about your well-being? It comes down to something psychologists call emotional compartmentalization. Some people are able to hold positive feelings about you, affection, nostalgia, even genuine fondness, without ever connecting those feelings to responsibility or action. In their minds, loving you is enough. They don't see care as a requirement. They don't understand that love is supposed to translate into effort. And there are a few psychological reasons why people operate this way. First, there's conditional investment. Some people only invest in relationships when it's easy, when it benefits them, or when it fits into their life without disruption. They love the version of you that doesn't require anything from them. They love you when you're doing well, when you're low maintenance, when supporting you costs them nothing. But the moment you need something, the moment you're struggling, hurting, or requiring emotional labor, they disappear. Not because they stopped loving you, but because their love was never built to carry weight. Second, there's emotional avoidance. Some people love you but can't handle the discomfort that comes with actually caring. Caring means being present during hard conversations. It means sitting with someone's pain. It means showing up even when you don't have the answers. And for people who avoid emotional intensity, that's too much. So they keep their love at a distance. They keep it comfortable. They keep it safe. They'll send a text. They'll say thinking of you. But they won't call. They won't ask the hard questions. They won't be there in the moment you actually need them. Because caring requires vulnerability, and they're not willing to give that. Third, there's performative affection. Some people express love because it makes them feel like a good person, not because they're actually invested in your life. They say "I love you" because it sounds right. They post about you on social media. They talk about how much you mean to them in front of others. But behind the scenes, silence, distance, no real effort. Their love is performative. It's about how they want to be seen, as loyal, as caring, as a good friend or family member. But it's not about you. It's about their image. And that kind of love evaporates the second no one's watching. So how do you know if someone loves you, but doesn't actually care? There are clear signs. They remember your birthday, but they never ask how you're really doing. They say they miss you, but they never make time to see you. They show up for the celebrations, the wins, the parties, the easy moments, but disappear when life gets hard. They talk about how much you mean to them, but their actions tell a completely different story. Psychology shows us that care reveals itself through consistency and presence. It's not about grand gestures. It's about showing up in the small, unglamorous moments. If someone only loves you when it's convenient, that's not care. That's comfort. And once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. So, what do you do when you realize someone loves you, but doesn't actually care? First, stop expecting care from people who've only ever given you love in words. This is hard, because we want to believe that love automatically includes care. We want to believe that if someone says they care, they will. But you have to accept reality. You have to stop waiting for them to show up in ways they've never shown up before. It's not about cutting people off or being bitter. It's about adjusting your expectations to match their behavior. If they only reach out when it's convenient, stop treating them like someone you can rely on. If they disappear when things get hard, stop opening up to them like they'll be there. You're not punishing them, you're protecting yourself. Second, redirect your energy toward people who actually care. Because here's the truth. There are people in your life who don't just love you, they actively care about your well-being. They check in, they ask real questions, they notice when something's off, they show up even when it's uncomfortable. Those are your people, and they deserve the energy you've been wasting on people who only care in theory. Third, understand that this isn't personal. People who love but don't care aren't doing it to hurt you. They're doing it because that's the emotional capacity they have right now. Maybe they weren't taught how to care deeply. Maybe they're too consumed with their own struggles. Maybe they've never had to learn how to be there for someone else. It doesn't make it okay. But it does mean you don't have to take it as a rejection. Their inability to care is about them, not about your worth. And finally, give yourself permission to feel disappointed. It's okay to grieve the relationship you thought you had. It's okay to feel hurt that someone who says they love you isn't showing up the way you need. But don't let that disappointment trap you. Don't let it make you stay in one-sided relationships hoping things will change. Because the painful truth is this: people show you who they are. And if someone has repeatedly shown you that their love doesn't come with care, believe them. You deserve more than empty words. You deserve people who back up their love with action. And the moment you stop settling for less is the moment you start building relationships that actually fill you up instead of drain you. Look, this isn't easy to accept. It's painful to realize that someone who says they love you isn't actually caring for you the way you deserve. But recognizing the difference between love and care is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Because once you see it, you stop wasting your energy on people who only love you in theory. You stop making excuses for people who disappear when you need them most. And you start building a life surrounded by people who don't just say they care, they prove it. Love without care is just a word, and you deserve more than words. If this helped you think again, if it made you see things differently about the relationships in your life, do me a favor, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been giving too much to people who only love them in words. Someone who needs permission to expect more. Thank you for listening. If you can, please leave a comment and subscribe. Let's build a community of people who know their worth and refuse to settle for anything less. Subscribe, stay connected, and keep protecting your peace.